You know that moment when shit hits the fan and your mind at once starts to look for an excuse? As humans, we are by nature programmed to justify our shortcomings. And what better scapegoat could we have had than the pandemic? Can't come to work? COVID hit. Can't pay your loans? COVID hit. Can't get work done? COVID hit. Can't pay salaries? COVID hit. And of course, why are businesses failing? Well, don't you know? COVID hit. While it genuinely did bring some pains, we can't entirely and conveniently give COVID-19 all the credit for bad business. I mean, isn't business supposed to adapt to changing times?
You might very well think that.
To make my point, let's rewind back a few decades. Okay, maybe not that far. Yes, the good old times. Everything seemed fine, great in fact. As kids, every Thursday evening was Power Rangers. For adults, every Wednesday evening was Maria de Los Angeles. All thanks to WBS. For hustlers in town, you needed a cool bar or a surfy drink somewhere in the middle of the day to cool off. And if you were at campus at the time, you probably had a plug for all condoms or music tapes. None of these businesses are thriving today. In fact, it seems like in Uganda, at the turn of every decade, we have new businesses to replace the old. Fortunately, in this video, we explore the complexities of doing business in Uganda. It's a wide and popular sentiment that to have a thriving business in Uganda, you have to be a thief, you have to be corrupt. To manage business anywhere really, you have to be shrewd. However, being shrewd also potentially means being deceitful in your dealings. After all, most of the major business concepts we know were invented by pirates and mafia gangs centuries ago. You probably think I just made that up. There is a reason we called it organized crime, because no one successfully runs a criminal empire for so long without some major levels of discipline. I'm talking about due diligence, loyalty, respect, accountability, and innovation. You know, pure business stuff. When you get right down to it, it's all about managing people. It doesn't matter if it's managing a family, a business, a government, or a criminal empire. Every so often, rumors and articles hit the airwaves and our social media timelines about scandal after scandal tying popular businessmen and politicians to the affair. Low and middle class citizens can be very vocal about such matters. But is it because we genuinely hate theft and corruption? Or do we just not have the opportunity? Because the facts on ground speak a very different language. In Uganda, it's kind of customary to allow a margin of theft in whatever you're doing. Your border guy will pretend not to have change. Your construction engineer will inflate prices of materials. The sugar, the utensils, and cutlery mysteriously go missing while in the custody of your maid. But you know this, you understand the customs of the land so well in fact that you don't buy stuff in bulk. Doing business in itself is a challenging task. In fact, the scales are turned against you if you do not have the right resources. I'm not talking about money or your score grades that may already be terrible, but I'm talking about connections and the price that you are willing to pay for it. We don't like to use the word, especially if it's in our favor. But it is what it is. Corruption. The kind that even comes with some protection. Allow me elaborate. Betty? Yes, master. Would you like to be the new IGG? I'd be delighted. Great, it's done. I expect results from you soon. We shall start with a lifestyle audit on everyone. Wait, what? What the heck is she doing? Shut up, Matty. Betty, you can't do that. But, see, after all, those so-called thieves reinvest the money here, at home. Therefore, it's a win-win. But sir, do you still want to be the IGG? Yes. Good. Okay, what if we use school kids to report on their parents? So that we build a nation of snitches? No, that's not what I meant. Do you know what would happen to those kids if this was Campton? But we're not in Campton, sir. Sorry, sir, I didn't mean to insult. Do you still want to be the IGG? Yes, of course. I mean, the money is good. Then don't do the things that you've so far proposed. Good talk. We should do this more often. One might actually consider government as the country's biggest corporation with a monopoly on destructiveness. As Ugandans, we have such an appetite for things that we do not produce. Is it not the reason we export raw materials and spend billions of dollars to import finished products every year? According to The Economist magazine, banks in sub-Saharan Africa, specifically in Uganda, are the most profitable in the world. with a return on equity as high as 17% as of 2020. In comparison, the average return on equity for American banks was 5.3%, in France 7.3%, and in Germany 4.1%. And these are said to be the most powerful economies in the world. By implication, The Economist magazine also meant to say that no business started from scratch thrives in Uganda, as profit margins are eaten up by the interest rates north of 30%. But you see, you can't do that and go scot-free without the blessing of the Bank of Uganda. To survive in this business environment, you have to have an edge, a competitive advantage. And if you are thinking I'm referring to a superior product or service or low fair prices, you haven't been paying attention. It's the connections and the price you are willing to pay for it, which brings you the tax holidays, the tenders, the contracts, or even outright monopoly in the market. The problem with doing business this way is that you don't get tested by the market. You are not proved. So when whatever gift you are given expires or is taken away from you, you fall very badly. Actually, doing business in Uganda reminds me of Joseph Stalin. His first wife, Kato Saninze, died early. His second wife, Aleluyeva, killed herself. He got reincarnated and came back as Saddam Hussein and was killed by hanging. While you might shout and vex all day about the corruption in government, some of us see the opportunity. You see, the government can't have it both ways. To maintain insane levels of corruption, the laws have to stay weak or maintain the loopholes. That said, let's talk about the ways that money laundering is so easily done in Uganda. For educational purposes, of course. Most businesses on Kampala Road and malls are only fronts for cleaning dirty money made from sale of alcohol, drugs, medicine, minerals, and so on that are illegally obtained or smuggled into the country. So the next time you are wondering why your neighbor's business is thriving and yours isn't, yet both of you receive barely any customers, well, now you know. Sale and purchase of real estate is a common route. Banks in Uganda won't ask you questions beyond you showing your land title and the sales agreement. The other party whom you transacted with could be a ghost for all we care. Actually, it's so easy nowadays that you can even make up anything, just about anything, and you walk away free. Cryptocurrency trading, a relatively new concept, but if you want to hide your illegal gains, you can use decentralized exchanges like YUSUF. They are like the Disneyland for money launderers. No KYC required and almost no metadata collected on you. At this point, I would even say, don't hate the player, hate the game. If you can have your way around, by all means. If it means getting your desired job because of your tribe or your skin color, do it. When shit hits the fan and you have the president's ear, for God's sake, why not? No judgment, it's the world we live in. Don't be fooled by feel-good values about integrity, professionalism, respect for diversity and so on that we all like to copy and paste into our company policies. Thing is, that's all good, but no one releases or follows that stuff.
But of course, I couldn't possibly comment.
Business is complicated, agreed, but sometimes all it takes is simple good business practice. Not the kind you get from your business lecturer who has never run a real business, but things like understanding your audience. For example, I see a lot of social media influencers having high engagement on their usual tweets, but when it comes to promoting gigs, no engagement happens. They start to complain and say things like people are jealous of them. Let me explain. You cannot build an audience or a following around sex, then you post about Movit Soap or Rock Boom in the exact words your employer gave to you. And you think people will care. That's laziness. Twist the message. Tell your audience that Rock Boom does wonders in bed, or that the Movit Soap you are trying to push is kind on private during self in the bathroom. Like I said, just an example. People are always willing to part away with their attention or money, as long as you can make their lives easier, faster, or more enjoyable. Stop complaining. Stop reading self-help books or videos back to back, which is also a form of procrastination. Business is hard. You will fail, and fail, and fail again, and fail even more. Then you start to compare yourself with others. And I hope that in that moment you get to remember that the ideal of other people's lives that you have created that is making you resentful is only an illusion. It's okay to not be okay. Besides, the most meaningful things in life are created through hardship. All that said, there is a fine line between good business and just outright being dishonest. Which is it going to be? What reality will you settle for? Thank you for watching.
lifestyle audit is good, but be careful, because we are still lucky that our corrupt people are corrupt here.